Hey, what's up guys? Luso here, Team D Plus Gaming, here to give you my Evilswarm deck profile. It's a little bit late coming to you for this format, but I mean, it's another deck that's kind of been overshadowed with the rise and I guess continuation of Dragon Rulers, and I guess all their variations, because that's all we've really seen in this format. So anyways, just to get things kind of going, we've got one Rescue Rabbit. Again, this getting hit really didn't affect this deck. It affected like Dino Rabbit and stuff, but not Evilswarm, because you're only running your triple Heliotrope anyways. And so, again, you're still running 3 Heliotrope because, I mean, even with that, like a lot of times the Rabbit was dead anyways in this deck, so just having it down to 1 doesn't really bother things or mess with the consistency. Next up, 3 Evilswarm Caster. He's your double summon. You get to summon him, you can summon another Evilswarm monster from your hand this turn. Again, his effect is a condition placed on the field, and so with that, if you get Veilered or something, it doesn't matter, your opponent just wasted a Veiler. Next up, 2 Evilswarm Mandragora. This is your little mini Cyber Dragon, only better, because you can control other monsters. It's just, the requirement is having less monsters than your opponent to special this one, and so you can have an Ophion on board already when you special him. And so that's really nice, and it really helps keep things going. Next up, you have 2 Evilswarm Thunderbird. This is your wind-up rabbit of the deck, essentially. He can chain his effect and banish himself off of just about anything, and then he comes back with an extra 300 attack, so he goes up to 1950. And so he can keep just floating and coming back until you draw into your next Evilswarm and be able to make your XYZ plays. And then to round out the main decked Evilswarms, you have 3 Evilswarm Kirkion. And so this guy was definitely what the deck was missing. He allows you to take and banish an Evilswarm Engrave when summoned to add 1 back to hand, and then you get an additional normal summon just like Caster. And so he really helps you keep going, especially if you get one of him Engrave and then you draw into 1, because you can keep going and make several consecutive Ophions right in a row, and your opponent gets really annoyed with that. And so he's really good and adds a lot to the deck. Next up we have 2 Kage to Kage. Again, he's a dark, so it really helps with consistency, helps you make some of the XYZs, like Key Beetle. And I mean, if your opponent makes like a Light and Darkness Dragon or something like that, you can use him and keep trying to chain his effect and weaken Lad like really fast. And so he has a lot of synergy with the deck, helps out a lot with things. And then to round out the monsters, we have 1 Dark Arm Dragon. I mean, just because with this, pretty much all the monsters main decked are dark except for your 1 Rescue Rabbit, which doesn't hit the graveyard anyways, and then with Kirkion you have Graveyard Manipulation. And so you can get down to 3 usually pretty easily. And so that wraps out the monsters for the deck. Next, moving on to spells, we have 2 Infestation Pandemics. So with this, your Lance saves the whole field. I'm only running 2, but I would definitely recommend having the 3rd one of these side-decked, just because there are certain matchups where you need to have that 3rd one there and have it available. Next up, I'm running 2 Kaiser Colosseums. I mean, you could run Vanity's Emptiness in this place, but personally I found Kaiser Colosseum to be much more effective, because especially you can take and like with this deck, you tend to only have 1 kind of big monster on the field at a time, and so you make a Key Beetle and have the lock going, you set a Kaiser Colosseum, then your opponent is limited to 1 monster. And so I mean, this really saves you games. Or you make an Ophion, then your opponent can't special summon anything anyways, and they can't make their XYZ to remove the Ophion. And so I mean, like, there's just a lot of things that Kaiser Colosseum opens up. Next up, 1 Reinforcement of the Army. You're running Evilswarm Caster, which is a warrior, so you had that to search for him. So you can search for the double summon and get things going that way. Next up, 2 Mystical Space Typhoons. I mean, pretty self-explanatory. Gets rid of back row. It's something that can always be sided out if it's not necessary. Book of Moon, again, a lot of versatility with it. Flips down tuners, messes up XYZs, puts things in defense position so you can run them over, however, and then your 1 Dark Hole. Especially because you have your Pandemic, which you can lance the whole field, and then Regeki your opponent. And then to round out the spells, triple Upstart Goblin. You have this just to make it a 37 card deck, make it so you get to what you need faster. And so I mean, I've actually really enjoyed this. I mean, Evilswarms are a really grindy deck, and so if you can get to what you need and kind of make your opponent deplete their resources faster, that's definitely an advantage to you. And so then now moving on to the traps, you have your 1 Infestation Infection. So this is kind of your 3rd search target for your Ophions when they detach. And with this, is really broken because you can use this during your opponent's turn, something that a lot of people, including myself, didn't realize at first. So you can say set this, and then during your opponent's turn they try to Dark Hole or something, and you have an Evilswarm main deck monster. You can chain this, return it to the deck, and then grab something you can use next turn to help start your field over again. So I mean, if you don't have an infection, that's a really good card. And plus, I mean, say it helps you keep your vanillas alive for Rabbit. It helps you draw into Kirkion faster. I mean, it's a very valuable part of the deck. Next up, 3 Safe Zone. Safe Zone is really broken. This definitely replaced Forbidden Dress in the deck. Being able to save and protect whatever you need to, especially Key Beetle with that lock, is really broken. Also, you can protect Ophion this way. And so, I mean, with that your opponent has a hard time getting around it, especially when you run 3 of them. Next up, 2 Fiendish Chains. I mean, those are kind of self-explanatory. 2 Mirror Force, your Compulse, Bottomless, and then Torrential. And so that rounds out the main deck to exactly 40 cards. Next, moving on to the extra deck. To start things off, you've got 3 Evilswarm Ophion. He prevents your opponent he prevents special summoning level 5 or higher monsters. And so, with that, he says no to Dragon Rulers, as well as Garunix coming back, or just a lot of different things that he really tries to shut down and does it very well. Also, you can detach from him. You can detach 1 material from him to search for an infestation, spell, or trap. And so you've got 3 Ophions and 3 targets for him to search for. Otherwise, you've got an Ophion with 2 materials on there, and then your opponent has to either find a way to detach both of them and special summon, or get around him. And so, I mean, like, he's really good. He's the main point of the deck, and the big boss monster of it. Next up, 2 Evilswarm Bahamut's. If I go second, I always make him first turn to steal whatever my opponent made, and it's usually a short game after there, and then I've got another one for late game. I mean, or if you happen to draw into the resources, like a really monster-heavy hand, you can use him. You detach 1 from him, and then take control of one of your opponent's face-up monsters, and then you have to discard an Evilswarm. But then the thing is, unlike Big Eye, he can still attack after he takes one of your opponent's monsters, which is really insane. So you can do a lot of damage really fast by using him. And then 1 Evilswarm Ouroboros. Like, he's a 2750 beater that you can lance, essentially, as well as being able to bounce 1, make your opponent discard 1. I mean, he does have some really good effects that you can use once, but I mean, the main reason I go into him is just for the 2750 aspect. Although most of the time I'd rather just make 2 XYZs over a 3-card investment into the 1. I mean, it was different when we had Shockmaster, but since we don't, he's kind of a stand-in that respect. Next up, 2 number 66 Master Key Beetle. He goes into a lock with the safe zones. He can protect the Kaiser Coliseum. I mean, he can even protect your Ophion if you have it on the field. With him, essentially, you can detach a card from him, select a card on your side of the field, and then he protects it from being destroyed. Or if he would be destroyed, you can send that card to the graveyard instead. So I mean, he adds a lot to the deck. He makes it a lot more annoying to face. Next up, Heroic Champion Excalibur. In case you have 2 casters, you can turn them into a 4K beat stick. Especially if you don't need an Ophion for the matchup. I mean, he is high attack. Next up, Diamond Direwolf. Great in the mirror match, or just to get rid of certain problemed cards. So he's really good. Black Ship of Corn. Another generic 4. Use him to get around problem cards like Zen Mains, where you wouldn't usually be able to get over that 3 times in a turn. You just make a Black Ship, detach, and send it to grave. So he's really good in that respect. Maestro, you can flip things face down, or he's a defensive wall. They can keep detaching to save. Photon Pappy, they can flip things face up, so kind of the opposite of that, and then they lose attack. Abyss Dweller shuts off graveyard effects, so shuts off Garunix, shuts off Elemental Dragons, Dark World. I mean, he answers a lot of decks. And then last but not least, a Gaga Cowboy. He can tie BLS, he can get over your opponent's Ophion if that's what they're playing, or he can burn for game. So he adds, again, a lot more versatility to the deck. And the next up are just some things that I like to keep sided for Evilswarm, or I guess in the Evilswarm side deck. Effect Veilers are kind of really essential. They can shut off effects and have a lot of plays. Max C's, you can side out the upstarts for Max C's in case that's what your opponent's facing, or depending on how much your opponent special summons, Max C's are usually a better bet than upstarts. The third Infestation Pandemic, that's really important to have, because there are times when your opponent just keeps going through like Torrential, Bottomless, Dark Hole, like so many staples and like ways to get rid of your monsters, and Pandemic is a lifesaver there. Dimensional Prisons, I will swap these in for Mirror Forces for the Fire Kings matchup, just because, or even the Elemental Dragon matchup, just because if your opponent makes a Stardust or something, the ability to banish it, or Draco Sack, I mean that's a lot better than trying to Mirror Force it. Your one Eradicator Epidemic Virus, I mean just because you have so many targets in the extra deck for that, it's really good, shuts off spellbooks. Macrocosmos as well as Dimensional Fissure, just to take and banish things, because really you've got 3 Kyrkion which are searchable with your Infestation Infection, and so you're a lot more likely to draw into those before you draw into your Macrocosmos, and so you'll have a couple of Evilswarm set in grave, and then that'll be enough, and flip a Macrocosmos at a well-timed spot in the game. I mean, can really devastate your opponent without doing any damage to yourself. Also, Dark Bribes, again, for back row heavy decks. It's really nice to be able to stop their counter traps, especially like they take in Solemn Warning. You can go Dark Bribe, okay, you paid 2,000 life points to draw 1 card. Was it really worth it? I mean, it's very devastating when you pull that one off. And then a Solemn Warning, just because, again, there are certain matchups where your opponent will try and summon monsters that you really can't match. And so Solemn Warning will definitely fend those off. And so, I mean, that's not a full side deck, but definitely things that I like to keep sided in this. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, please like and subscribe for more. Luso with Team D+ Gaming, signing out.